Yeah.
Emmett's been asking about Jamie. So
Really?
he really wants to go to the splash pad.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to do that.
We were there this morning. It's not open yet. Yeah, it's cool.
He was like, you remember that? That case with that guy? Like, it's like everything we know. And we were just like, yeah, Jamie. I was like, oh.
Why did you say that?
Yeah, we reached the point where everything's just
Oh my God.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure.
The way that really, we just keep that and music with the tunes and
Yeah. It was boring. Yeah, he's funny because, his all his teachers are bilingual because he's in the Spanish.
right.
So like I'm helping him with his homework, saying, well, read in Spanish, and it's not like so. And like when he speaks it, he sounds Puerto Rican. Because the Spanish teacher is Puerto Rican. I'm like, yes. It's really cool. So you're gonna put Jamie in the Gaelic program?
That might be the most useless language.
Unless you're out in the middle of nowhere, Scotland or Ireland.
Oh.
Then it's probably. You're gonna look at me, I'm gonna be like, in a post-COVID haze. Post-COVID haze. Post-COVID haze. What happened over here? No, Michael. You need some help.
Happening today. I guess we're making a trip to the cleaners.
Schwitzing, you got a little schmutz.
Schmutz. All the Yiddish words.
You don't know what time?
6:34.
You used to do these Jewish wedding band videos. They used to sub full thing. The band leader, I ran into him a few years ago. Yeah, just one time going on. It's like, hey, I said something, yeah, I gotta go schlep my drums in this gig. And he was like, man, you have been doing it for a while.
I guess you slept in them. I had a saxophone teacher when I was like in high school. He wasn't great, but I think I don't know why I studied with him even, honestly, but whatever. But he played like all this. He was like a GB musician, whatever. And these friends of mine who worked in the Jewish wedding scene, who I met later on, and he said, "Oh, I remember that guy. He used to have a purple tuxedo." He used to have a purple tuxedo that he would keep in the bell of his saxophone. Like famously stunk.
That must have smelled terrible.
Famously.
my left. Again, 636.
Shabbat Shalom. It is so good to be in this space, as always. And tonight, I know there are so many reasons that we are here to celebrate, including, of course, the 28th day of the Omer. Tonight, we begin... Of course. Thanks for that. Thank you. I was hoping for that. Thank you. The 28th day of the Omer, isn't that right, Rabbi? Yeah. So, okay, thank you for that clarification. So, not only on this Shabbat do we count the Omer, as we do every day at this time of year, but also this Shabbat we read from Parshat Emor, we read the commandment to count the Omer at all. We read the origins of this strange custom. And specifically, it says you shall count, or rather you shall offer an Omer measurement of your first harvest and give it to the priest. And there are all kinds of drashes on what this Omer situation is, but the Ger Rebbe, a Hasidic sage, teaches that because the phrasing is that it is of your first harvest, that somehow this Omer has to be connected to every other first in the Torah. And he specifically says that it's connected to Bereshit, creation. And in the Hasidic worldview, creation is Torah. And so, in a sort of complex way, what he says is that the Omer itself represents Torah. More specifically, the offering of Torah from ourselves, from our bodies, from our experiences. Every day of these 49 days is supposed to be an offering of Torah from ourselves, leading up to Shavuot, which is our celebration of Torah, the written Torah, and the oral Torah. But leading up to it, we are supposed to celebrate and count the Torah of our lives. Now, your guess is perhaps as good as mine as to what that is. But Shabbat comes here as a way for us to experience and figure out what is the Torah of our lives. What is it that we're taking into this space? What is it that we're leaving behind? What is it perhaps that is the Torah of our bodies that we're not so tapped into for 6 days of the week, but we get a chance to, on Shabbat, to explore what is lying deep within us that we want to express? What is something that we need to know that's hidden somewhere? That is what Shabbat is always about, but it is especially true during the Omer. And in addition to that, I want to say that I know so many people are coming here with feelings of excitement. Some people are coming here with feelings of pain and confusion and everything in between. And all of that is found in the Torah of yourself, of your body and your soul. And so this prayer book and this service allows for us to experience all of it. If it's celebration that we need to encounter tonight, if it is sorrow that we need to express, whatever it is, fear and elation, whatever it is that you need to express, the prayer book can hold all of it, and you can express all of it in these words. We'll begin tonight with an expression of one particular feeling, that is joy, with Kabbalat Shabbat on page 130, beginning with Psalm 95, Lechu Neranenah.
It's 135. Yodu Shimcha Gadol Venor.
5 lines from the top.
Yodu Shimcha Gadol Venora.
Something I've learned these last couple of years, trying to create sacred space. Sometimes it feels freeing, sometimes it feels confining to be like this. And just like as we look around, we see that some of us are breathing without masks and some of us are breathing with masks. And the ebb and the flow of time these last several years reminds us that sometimes things aren't always as clear as we'd like them to be. And I'm speaking very specifically about this time of year. In the spring, if you wear glasses and you wear a mask and the weather gets warmer, you can feel and you can see that the world is growing foggier sometimes. And every so often, you have to take off your glasses, right? Or take off your mask or adjust yourselves, right? Sean knows what I'm talking about. And in a way, it's a beautiful metaphor for what we're trying to do on Shabbat. Sometimes what we're trying to do, the world as we wish it could be, seems foggy. And we have to adjust ourselves and adjust our perspective. But another great thing the fog on the glasses reminds us of is that we can breathe. Is that we can breathe. And that we are alive, still, in spite of it all. And so let's just take these next few moments to breathe, allowing for the ebbing and the flowing, the fogging and the clearing.
וחדורי לקראת קבלה, בני שבת נקרא וחדורי לקראת קבלה, בני שבת נקרא וחדורי לקראת קבלה, בני
We remain standing, page 144, Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, ve'amad yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'bizman kariv emeru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה ואמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד. Please be seated.
Page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain at the border of life. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, my sibling, or cross over? This is the hour of change. And within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my siblings, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv haravim.
Page 150. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני
לעולם
תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך 154 והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת 158 מי כמוך באים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא נורא תהילות עושה מלכותך רב ובניך וכיום לפני משה ומרים זיני ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל
We're paying close attention to that Torah of our souls or the Torah of our bodies at this part in the evening. You may find that there are parts of ourselves that are not in a mood to celebrate. There are parts of ourselves that are especially worried about people that we know, perhaps about ourselves and our own lives, and certainly about the world. This week, many of us were distressed to read the news of the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh, a Palestinian journalist, caught in the crossfires between Israelis and Palestinians. And certainly we've read in the past weeks and months about escalating violence leading to the deaths of so many in that place, as well as violence in Europe and Ukraine and so many other places around the world that are frequently in our hearts, certainly in the headlines. And we know that we come to this place ready to celebrate, but also ready to meditate on the brokenness of our world. Sometimes we don't really know what we can do, and often that's true. But we do know that we can hope. We can keep faith. We can hope that at some point in the future, there will be a time that is whole. And we know that it won't be if we don't hold it, if we don't hold it somewhere in our hearts, if we don't believe that it's possible. That is what Hashkivenu is every single night, especially on Shabbat when we're gathered here together, but every single night Jews pray this prayer before they go to bed, asking for a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. Tonight we ask God for a shelter of peace over so many of us, over all of us, for so many reasons. And we think about those closer to home, perhaps, those in the news. We meditate as we pray this prayer on page 160, moving then into another prayer for healing. We pray for peace in all of its forms with Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, L'shalom, Ve'hamidenu, Shomereinu L'chaim. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shelomecha, V'tageneinu, Le'etzah Tova milpanecha, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בהדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב דבר, וחרב ורעב ויגון, והרחק ממנו עוון. הפשע בצל כנפיך תזכירנו, כי אל שומרנו מצילנו אתה, כי אליך רחום אתה. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. 371. מי שברך אבותינו בכל הברכה לאמותינו, may the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We pray for healing on behalf of the following people.
John Dash.
our church.
Beyond Jefferson, Tanga, Nancy's Patong, and people in Ukraine, Israel, and Israel.
Malcolm Bot, Illinois.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We turn back in our prayer books to page 162 for the singing of Vishamru, to be followed by silent prayer through page 181. If we're able, we rise, page 162.
So this past Sunday at Temple Emmanuel, I'm on the Upper East Side. I'm going to take this off. My Zoom people. On Sunday, Temple Emmanuel, Upper East Side, I, along with my classmates, some of whom are here, Alexandra Stein and Madeline Cooper, who you met earlier, we were ordained as rabbis. Thanks. I thought there would be a woo. I wrote like woo. Yeah. So thank you for that. It's a lot of fun. And it was a culmination of 5 years of rabbinical school, which I completed mostly. They've heard about this paper. I still haven't finished that paper, but I'm going to. I promise, because I feel like to make it official. Okay. Yeah. And it was exciting. And in the Reform movement, there is a particular ritual that's used to ordain a new clergy person. It's the laying of hands, like this, but on the head, right? So in our case, it was done by Rabbi Andrea Weiss, the provost of HUCJIR. And so my name was called and I ascended the bima, and Rabbi Weiss laid her hands on my head and gave me a blessing. The ritual symbolizes the transfer of authority, and it goes back to Moses, who at the end of his life ordains Joshua as the leader of the Israelites by Moses lays his hands on Joshua's head. Right? So the laying of hands connects us to this chain of tradition. As it says in the beginning of Pirkei Avot, Moses received the Torah at Sinai and transmitted it to Joshua, Joshua to the elders, and the elders to the prophets, and the prophets to the men of the great assembly. It's passed down, so fast forward many generations and insert some feminism and the ordination of women, and it was passed down to us, the Torah, passed to us as new rabbis and cantors. Just as Moses was called to be a servant of Israel and a teacher of Torah, so too do we aspire to be now as clergy. The laying of hands is a ritual that is therefore powerful and humbling. And it represents a top-down transfer of authority. But there's another way I think we can conceive of what it means to become a rabbi, which is more of a bottom-up approach. And it's a framing that actually really resonates with me now, being amongst this community at CBE. And I found a hint at it in our Torah portion. I promise, I actually went to the Torah without an agenda, and it spoke to me. Sometimes we go to the Torah with an agenda, that's good too. But so here in Parshat Emor, it's a continuation of the holiness code. The part of Leviticus that's really concerned with how the Israelites should act to be a holy people and to be ritually fit for contact with the divine. In this parsha in particular, we read laws associated with the Kohanim. The Kohanim are, who are the Kohanim? Yes, the priests. They're the priests and they're from Aaron's lineage. Okay, so Moses is speaking to the sons of Aaron, these priests, explaining how they should preserve their ritual purity so that they're then fit to offer sacrifices on behalf of the community. And then we have this curious verse that stood out. It starts with the word v'kidashto. Okay, so this is sometimes translated as you shall treat him as holy, or you shall make him holy. But I prefer the translation, you shall sanctify him. So before the verse, we're hearing Moses speaking to the priests as a whole in the plural, right? But now the audience seems to have shifted because the Kiddush To, the priest, the hymn is actually speaking about the priest in the third person as the object of the verb, Kiddush, lekadesh, right? To sanctify. So the you, okay, follow me here. It's hard, I know it's so hard to think about words without seeing them in front of you. But so the you in V'kidash to and you shall sanctify him, it becomes somewhat unclear. Previously, we were talking to a group of priests. Now it's a singular you. Okay. So who's it talking to? All right. Ramban says maybe it's speaking to the priests about how they should relate to one among them, or maybe it's really speaking to each and every Israelite. The full verse is, you shall sanctify him, the priest, because he offers the food of your God, right? He makes the sacrifices. He will be sacred to you because I, God, am sacred and I sanctify you. Back to the people. Through God, every person is holy. And through every person, the priest is made holy. So it's not actually obvious, I think, what it means for the people to sanctify the priest. So now we're going to do my favorite thing, audience participation, right? Congregational participation here. So what do you think? What could it mean for the people to sanctify the priest? Authorize. Okay, so yeah, say, yes, we give you authority. Love that, that's great. Empower, similar. Yeah, to empower them with that authority. To recognize the priest as such. That's great.
Yes, like even just in your head.
Yeah, yes, listening and staying and affirming when you believe or agree, yeah.
Acceptance.
Can you say more?
Because it's interesting, when you look at the word Shema, the word Shema in Hebrew is here. But the word here is a passive word. It should be listen, O Israel, because listen is active. If I say to you, oh, hear me, it's passive. If I say listen to me, it now becomes active. So therefore, acceptance of the concept of Shema should be listen, O Israel, not hear, O Israel.
I like that. And that you could absolutely translate Shema that way. That's a very legitimate translation. So some kind of active acceptance and as part of the rituals. All right, that was great. Oh, David, I thought you'd have a thought. Thank you. Separate. Okay, so now you're really thinking of the verb likadesh, which can mean to set apart. That's sort of what holiness is in Judaism. It's the idea of setting something apart from the ordinary. So maybe, yeah, they acknowledge a priest is going to be separate in some sense from the community. This is great. Oh, yes. Hi. Welcome. Yeah. If people don't hold protests about the priest being ordained. Yes, thank you for not protesting my ordination. Very grateful for that. Okay. So, okay, that was really interesting. I mean, actually, I want to summarize for you a couple of the things that Rashi says to add to our understanding of what it could mean for people to sanctify the priest. So the first thing that Rashi offers is that it therefore falls on the Beit Din to, Beit Din, a court on behalf of the people, I think, hold the priest to the standard of holiness incumbent upon a priest. So in this context, Rashi is linking it to the verses that came before about who the priest should marry. And it says basically, if the priest marries someone wrongfully, then you can go and chastise the priest and flog him until he divorces his wife. So I would say that for Rashi, that's suggesting that the priest has a duty to fulfill for the people, and therefore they can hold him to a high moral standard. And an alternative, Rashi suggests, that the people should give priority to the priests in matters of holiness. Like the priest should get first dibs on reading Torah or on leading the Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after meals, right? And Rashi says that's what it's like to treat someone as holy. Okay, so that's one way we could understand that verse as really the treating as holy. I hate that translation because it's like elevates the priest far above the people, it seems to me. You should have this sort of respect that you wouldn't have for any individual, which doesn't feel like how we understand the role of a rabbi, I hope. But there's another way to understand this verse, which elevates the people. And granted, Leviticus was likely written by sort of priestly affiliated people, so maybe they liked the elevation of the priest, but I like the elevation of the people. So let's talk about that interpretation, right? Because Rabbi Moshe Alshich, he's with me, in the 16th century, he says that I made all these edits with pencil, so forgive me. Okay, so he says that it's not that the priests are inherently any holier than the people. Of course, it's actually through the actions that they do that confers this kind of holiness upon them. It's because the priests become a conduit for holiness between the Israelites and God. And we'll remember that that verse ended with God saying to the you, I am holy and I make you holy. I sanctify you and you shall sanctify the priests. And the people, for their part, hold the priests to a high moral standard. They trust in the priests and show them respect. And it is for the people that the priest performs the acts of sacred service. So the Kohen might be a hereditary role, but it is the people who imbue it with holiness. And this is where I found my connection to what it means to become a rabbi today. Because I am ending my time at CBE with tremendous gratitude for all of you and all of the people not in this room who have been a part of my experience here. In rabbinical school, I may have learned how to be a rabbi, but it is here at CBE where that role was made sacred. We often say that without all of you, we couldn't do any of this. And it's not just a truism. There is no Judaism without the Jews. And I certainly couldn't have become a rabbi without a congregation. I feel really blessed to have been part of a community that is full of individuals who care and who are dedicated to living Jewish lives in all its dimensions. You also have incredible clergy who have cultivated a Judaism here that is clearly very deep, and as deep as it is broad, that brings people into real relationship and also reaches out beyond the walls of the synagogue. It's inspiring, and it's something I've really taken note of. In particular, I have to thank Rabbi Matt Green, who has been my mentor here and who has made this job meaningful and a lot of fun with your authenticity, your knowledge, your humor, and your creative approach to Jewish life. And I'm honored to call you my rabbi and my friend. And back to you all and all of the many congregants who have been a part of this experience. You have made this work sacred. You've made it sacred for me when you shared your struggles and your joys, when we prayed for your loved ones, when you learned Torah with me and wrote your own midrash or engaged in Musar practice, when we stood in solidarity with our neighbors, when you showed up at my house with chicken soup, and you showed up for others, when you hosted people in your homes for Shabbat dinners, and when you made us all laugh in the Purim spiel, when you invited me to welcome your children into the covenant. That's very special. Or I sat on your Beit Din for conversion. Or I stood under your chuppah. I've done a couple times now. I've had the most amazing experiences here. And I've had it because you trusted me and you supported me. And I knew they would cry if I cried, they'll cry. You've trusted me, supported me, and you've treated me like a rabbi, which was a gift, because it helped me see myself as a rabbi and to understand why that is sacred. So thank you for making me a rabbi, and Shabbat Shalom.
We're all verklempt, Eliza. Eliza, we'll have an opportunity across the street, and I hope you all will join us to celebrate. Because there are so many things worth saying, and you did approach many of them in your Devar Torah, that you have now attained ordination. You have had someone put their hands on your shoulders and make you a rabbi. But I would go a step further even than what you said, because we find in a legal code, Aruch HaShulchan, not Shulchan Aruch, but Aruch HaShulchan, do with that what you will, we find that a rabbi is actually anyone who other people call a rabbi. Now, you and I share something very special, which is that we've both served as rabbinic intern of this congregation. And those of you who happen to have been rabbinic interns anywhere, I don't know how many of you that is, a handful of you, I see over there, you know that there's something a little bit awkward before you're actually ordained and people call you rabbi. And I've watched this happen to you over the years, and for the past 3 years, you have politely nodded and said, I'm not really a rabbi, or turned to me and sort of acknowledged that. But the truth is that you have been a rabbi. You have taught me so much, about which I'll say much more across the street if we have time. But everyone here already has seen you as a rabbi, well before Dr. Weiss put her hands on your shoulders. The truth about you and the way that you teach Torah and the way that you lead is that you really do see yourself as a fellow traveler on a journey with every person. Look out, every person here, they are people you're traveling with. And we have a blessing to offer you that I'll offer on behalf of everyone. This is the traveler's prayer, derech, or Tilat Hadera. And this is a blessing that a prayer we're supposed to say anytime we set out on a journey. The thing is about the Tfilat Haderech, it's framed in the first person plural. Now, most of our prayers, almost all of our liturgy is framed in the first person plural. That's how we find the words. It's all about us. In this case, it's about you. But what our sages say is that the reason that it's framed or phrased in the first person plural is that even when you are alone on a journey, you know that there are so many people that brought you there, that are there journeying alongside you. And you have treated all of us as your fellow travelers. We will continue to be that. You're not going that far. But also, even when you are at that B'nai Mitzvah, even when you're performing that wedding, at some point down the line, I hope that you take the memories of serving this community and being our rabbi into that moment, knowing that you aren't alone and will never be alone in this rabbinate. So I'm going to offer you this traditional blessing. And as I do, I want to invite up Rabbi Timoner, who also has something very special to offer you as well. Yiratzon milfanecha Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, shetolichenu l'shalom v'tatzidenu l'shalom v'tadrichenu l'shalom v'tagyenu limchoz cheftzenu l'chaim u'simcha u'shalom v'tatzilenu mikaf kol oyev v'orev v'listim v'chayot ra'ot baderech mikol minei foranyot hamitrakshot lavo le'olam v'tishlach bracha b'chol ma'aseh yadenu v'titnenu l'chein ul chesed ul rachamim be'einecha u'v'nei chol ro'enu v'tishma kol tachanunenu ki el shomea tefillah v'tachanun ata baruch ata Adonai shomea tefillah. Amen. And those words mean, may it be your will, eternal one, our God and God of our ancestors, that you lead us toward peace and place our footsteps toward peace, guide us toward peace, and make us reach our desired destination for life, gladness, and peace. May you send blessing in Eliza's every handiwork, and grant her peace, kindness, and mercy in your eyes and in the eyes of all who see her. May you hear the sound of our supplication because you are the God who hears prayer and supplications. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who hears prayer. Amen.
Eliza, hi. You've said so many beautiful things tonight, and Rabbi Green has said so many beautiful things tonight. I'm just going to be very brief in saying to you that on behalf of our congregation, we're so happy to be able to give you the Commentator's Bible, which is something that fills out your library, that is that gives us the Torah with the Mefarshim, with the medieval commentators on every verse. And symbolically, the whole one is wrapped up for you separately, but symbolically, this is Deuteronomy because it has Parshat Vayelech, which has Moses putting his hands on Joshua's head. Yep, saying Chazak ve'ematz. In God's voice coming through Moses, saying Chazak ve'ematz. And it goes on to say, Ki anochi eyeh imach. God saying, for I will be with you. So as we just offered the traveler's prayer, as we know that we will all be journeying with you wherever you go, we hope you'll see these faces and remember these people and all the people who were with you on this part of the journey were with you in spirit the whole way. And we pray and we know that God will be with you as well. Chazak ve'ematz.
Page 570. We sanctify this day by counting the Omer, page 570. Leshem yichud, kudsha brichu shtinte, hineni muchan umezuman, lekayem mitzvat aseh, shel sfirat haomer, shel sfirat haomer, shel sfirat haomer, shel sfirat haomer. 7 weeks, they must be complete. 7 weeks, they must be complete. We rise if we're able for the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu, b'mitzvotav etzivanu, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, hayom shmona ve'esrim yom, shem arba shavuot la'omer. Ay, 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 Today is 28 days, marking exactly 4 weeks of the Omer. We continue page 586, Aleinu l'shabeach. לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך. The middle of 590. כי המלכות שלך Please be seated. Before we move into the conclusion of our service, just a quick moment to acknowledge our amazing quintet who plays with us all year, once a month approximately, and we're just so grateful for all your work. And we want to give each of you a special Yasher Koach. So after I say each of your names, maybe everyone will say Yasher Koach. Michael Winograd on clarinet. Yasher Koach. Sam Bartfeld on violin.
Yasher Koach.
Sean Moran on guitar.
Yasher Koach.
Aidan O'Donnell on bass.
Yasher Koach.
Paul Francis on percussion.
Yasher Koach.
Thank you, and thank you to Nate Jaffe, our lead administrator, and Stas Olshansky, our AV engineer.
As we move toward the conclusion of our service, our thoughts turn, as always, to words of the mourner's Kaddish and to those whom we remember. If you are observing Shiva or the first week of mourning, please rise and share a name with us. If you are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, please rise and share a name. And if you are in Shana, or the first year of mourning, please rise and share a name. If you are here observing a yortzeit, or the anniversary of a death, please rise and share a name.
My father, Phil Mitchell.
In solidarity with our mourners, I invite you all to please rise. As we think in particular of those whom we've lost in the last 30 days as a community. Florian Matos, father of Peggy Liebenson, father-in-law of Richard Liebenson, and grandfather of Nicole and Danielle. Edith Brenner, mother of Amy Brenner, mother-in-law of Scott Zucker, and grandmother of Nathaniel and Elia. And William Greenbaum, father of Anna Solomon, father-in-law of Michael Berger, and grandfather of Sylvia and Samuel, as well as the following Yahrzeits: Anna Aberson, Bertha Rosenstock-Barr, Samuel Berenbaum, Stella Bloom, Robert Dressler, Robert Felsher, Shirley Fink, Howard Fisher, Milton Fleiss, Gladys Frankel, John Firth, Elizabeth Firth, Louis Firth, Adele Gernsheimer, Mark Gibbons, Marcel Goldmuntz, Carrie Goldsmith, Sophie Halper, Helen Kaplan-Heller, Helen Inwald, Arthur Kahn, Max Kamens, Hyman Kirsch, Carolyn Leslie, Philip Levinowitz, Jacob Leventhal, Harry Levy, Sarah Levy, Max Lifshitz, Sylvia Lowenstein, Matilda Mason, Dominic Mateo, Peter Mayer, Philip Mishkin, Lillian Moss, Seymour Okan, Anna Ray, Tara Raymond, Ray Reeder, Jesse Rosen, Jerry Roth, David Rothbart, Mary Shine, Rebecca Schranz, Andrew Velez, and Lorianne Wiener. We say Zichronam Livracha, may all of their memories be for our blessing. As we turn to page 598 for words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'almad yivrach hurtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach olam olameh amen. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yidadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, v'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places make peace over us and over all who mourn, as we say, amen. Amen.
We turn to page 625. Asher malach b'terem poyin zir nivra le'et na'asa v'hesoko azay melech shemo nivra ve'acharei kivrot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu ha'aya ve'hu ha'ofer ve'hu yeh b'tifara.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for Kiddush in the lobby and then across the street in the rotunda to celebrate. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Howard and Linda and Barbara and Judy and Kit and Barbara and Sarah. Sunayal, Bill and Sheila, Lois, Lisa, Jules and Julianne, baby. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, kids. Oh, she's gone.
Shabbat
Oh, there you are.
No, I'm here. Take care.
Oh.
You look so beautiful.
Yeah.
How are
Shabbat
you?
shalom. Judith, I
Shabbat
haven't seen you in a
shalom.
while. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
shalom. Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
Barbara.
shalom, Linda. Shabbat shalom,
Shalom,
Barbara.
Sarah.
Hey, Sue. Hi.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Sarah, when are you coming to New York?
Oh, my bar mitzvah is on the 13th of August, so I'll arrive around 10th. 10th or 11th.
Okay.
The middle of summer.
I hope I meet you. I don't know that we'll be in town. That would be sad for me.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm glad you could make it over.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to apply for my visa. Just waiting for one document from the CBE, an invitation, because I have to attach one.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah, Linda, nice to see you. Oh, nice.
See you.
Sorry, let me just increase the volume. I'm having difficulty hearing. Sorry, Linda, what did you say?
I said it's great to see you. Shabbat shalom. And I'd love to come to your bat mitzvah if I can.
No, but you join by Zoom. Joining by Zoom is good
Zoom
enough.
Yeah, I'm a little disabled right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. I live with 2 disabilities, so I understand.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to walk. It's great to see you.
Great to see you all. Great to see you, Barbara. And
Shabbat
Sue
shalom,
and
everyone.
Sue.
Bye.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.
Howard and Howard too.
Thank you. Thank you, Howard.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Barbara.
Have a good week, a blessed
You
week.
too.
Everybody
You too,
have a
Barbara.
great week.
Okay.
Have a good dinner.
Yeah, I gotta leave or I'm gonna burn dinner.